Is it something that may I see the wand and just
Yes,
see
of
if it
course.
works for me?
Yeah. And we can also test
Am I
the,
pointing at?
no, you would be pointing there. Mhm. Oh, let me go back. Actually, I'll share the screen. We just have to scroll. Oh, that was me.
Oh, is you? Okay.
Yeah.
Pointing at that?
Yeah.
Recording.
I don't know, because it's saved it as a PDF.
What's that?
It's saved it as a PDF, so I don't know if we'll do it in presentation mode or not. Let me see if I can.
Recording in progress.
This doesn't work at all.
I think it's just, oh, okay.
So now give it a try.
Yep, is it on?
Well, I need to know.
Yeah, let me see. It's working.
Perfect.
So it's counterintuitive. So this is forward,
Okay,
even though it's down.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Counterintuitive. I like
It's
that.
weird, yeah.
That's okay. I'm strange too. No problem.
Aren't we all?
A minute.
10:59.
It's so hard not to push the button.
Sure.
It's so hard not to push the button. You're just holding the line. And
Oh, that's probably what I was doing with me.
Let's see if, do you want to test the camera? I don't think it's following you. Do you want to just wave in front of it? Right here. Just wave.
It's okay.
No, it's not. It's not. For some reason, it's really zoomed in.
Good.
Pretty good.
Start it up.
Yeah,
You want me to stand anywhere specifically or?
no, wherever. So right now the full screen, if you want to see what you look like. The main screen is just your presentation and then you're kind of off to the side. For some reason it's super
Okay.
zoomed in.
Shut up.
No, you're good, you're good.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Thank you for having me in. My name is Kevin Polizzi. I'm with mynhd.com. And for those of you on Zoom, hello. And I'm here today to help you piece together and navigate wildfire disclosure requirements. Basically going back to 2021, when the AB 38 and all that kind of stuff came out, there were some changes with regards to what is required, what isn't required when you're reporting on properties with regards to if you're in an AB 38 zone, you're in a high fire severity zone. And it's kind of become a little confusing at times because you hear one thing and then you see the other, or somebody will tell you this and then they'll say that. So we're gonna try to take any of the puzzling part out of the equation. We've kind of assembled a little 4-piece puzzle, and hopefully this is gonna be very straightforward and understandable for you. And I will do my best to answer any questions that you may have through the process, okay? So today we're gonna cover the My Has Check app, which is not required, but it is very empowering for the agents who choose to use it. We're gonna go over the My NHD report, which is a required piece of the puzzle. We're going to talk about the, defensible space and how you order that and the process you need to go through. That is another required piece of the puzzle, if you will. And then at the end, we're going to touch on the, it's a new report. You may have heard a little scuttle out there, a little talking about it. It's from a company called Fortress Fire, and it's their wildfire disclosure report. It is not required at all in any way on the transaction, but some might find it of value because it's basically a defensible space inspection, but on steroids, just to give you an example. Very different analytics involved, very encompassing. But there's those customers out there that truly want to get all of that information down for their own purposes. So it is available to you, okay? So we're going to start with the first one here. And this is myhascheck.com. If you have your laptop or if you're at a desktop or your phone, if you would like, it is completely free. You go into your browser, you put in myhascheck.com, and it allows you to view flood and fire zones at your fingertips if you're on your phone, or at your leisure from your laptop or desktop as you need to. It'll populate a map depending on what you choose, either flood or fire. It'll show the property involved. You look it up either by using the address involved or using the APN on the property. It's going to populate a map onto your screen. It's going to show you an outline detail of where the property is and where it relates to either a flood or fire zone, whichever you've chosen. And then that map is able to be sent out and emailed to your customers at your leisure if you'd like. So that's another great value, convenience there. And then with regards to the fire zones, it's going to show you if it's in or out of an AB 38 zone. It's going to show you if it's in or out at a local level, state level, county level. Doesn't take place of the NHD, but it really gives you great information that you can provide to your customers on the fly. Let's say you have buyers out there and they're giving you a laundry list of properties to take a look at on their behalf, but they're adamant they don't want to be in a fire zone, they don't want to be in a flood zone. As opposed to having to do painstaking research going here and there, you open up the app, you put in the address or the APM, and you're going to have that information at your fingertips. You can show your prospective buyer they don't want to be in that zone, so you take it off the list. It saves you time, saves you effort, and it's free to everybody. And even if you want to give it to your buyers or your end users, your customers, and have them do the work, that's fine too. You can approach it however you like. We're the only company out there that's offering this. Right now, it's only flood and fire. And as the technology gets better, we're going to add more different hazards into it. So it's only going to become more feature rich over time. So I would suggest all of you, if you find value in it, give it a try. Obviously, there's nothing to bind you to use it, but sometimes when you're differentiating yourselves versus other agents, it may come down to the information that you have in hand and how you present that to your customer as far as who's going to win that listing. So I really hope you find this of value. At the end of the meeting, if you have questions on this, let me know. Happy to help you install it. Happy to help you go through samples of the maps. Okay. And again, this isn't a required piece, but it's a very empowering piece for realtors because it gives you the data in the palm of your hands and it's free. Okay, the next step in our puzzle here is the order of the My NHD report. Okay, they're required on all transactions, both commercial and residential in the state of California, as you know. And the way we approach it is if you are in an AB 38 zone, if you're in a high fire severity zone, this is going to be the page you see on a report. the page after our invoice page, it's loud and clear. It shows the AB 38 notification. There's a link on how to order your defensible space inspection. It's a little cut off here, but we even list the local fire jurisdictions that normally would have jurisdiction on the property as far as fire mitigation is concerned. If you are not in an AB 38 zone, this page is not created. If you are in, it's a beacon of light telling you you are in and this is what you have to do.
So we don't need to tell you that, just give it to the address and you guys can know that,
Sorry, I'm hearing this very soft, please.
sorry, no, that's like I said, so we don't need to order this, like, once you give it to the address, you guys know.
You're gonna know right away, and that's why you can plug in that address on your phone. Oh,
And then
it's not in that fire zone, yay.
And then.
Bring it to your customer, and they're gonna be happy.
Then,
and-
into the report we order, once you give to the address, just this is you guys can create, we don't need to tell, okay, this is a part, the fire zone.
No, not at all. No, we're gonna tell you, according to law, whether it's in or not, in the high fire severity zone. And this is just what our page looks like. Normally, these are done every year, as far as, well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, talking about the inspection. If it's been an existing property in a high fire severity zone for a while, most likely the existing occupants are gonna have this inspection certificate already. Don't hesitate to ask them for that, because if there's still time on the clock with regards to that, it can be handed over to the buyer and still be utilized. You normally start with CAL FIRE. You go to the calfire.com link here. It's going to take you to their website. You schedule your defensible space inspection with CAL FIRE. It normally takes a couple days for CAL FIRE to get back to you. And if it's not CAL FIRE's jurisdiction, they're going to tell you, hey, it's Beverly Hills, or hey, it's LA County, or wherever the property may lie. And it's extremely easy. This is one of the biggest hurdles that I come across with a lot of my clients, just because it's new and different, and maybe you haven't been through enough of them to feel comfortable. We always tell our clients, order the My NHD at the time of listing. Don't wait till you're in a contract. We charge no money up front. We wait until the escrow closes. But you are the beneficiary, and your clients are the beneficiary of having all that knowledge up front without having a dime out of pocket for it. We wait until the escrow closes to get paid. If it should fall out of escrow, you're not expected to pay for our report. We have a don't close, don't pay policy. Yes? Oh, I answered? Okay, no. So fantastic. This is our page, after the invoice, links to CAL FIRE, links to request a defensible space inspection. I'm bleeding into the next piece of the puzzle here. This is an actual copy of the notice of the dispensable space inspection. You order it from the CAL FIRE website. They respond within a few days. And then past that, it could be 10 days, maybe 3 weeks before someone can actually come out and do the inspection on the property. It varies just depending on who has jurisdiction and how busy that they are. There might be situations where CAL FIRE says it's not ours, it's Beverly Hills. So then you got to go to the Beverly Hills Fire Department. I'm just using them as an example. And then they may have a little bit more stringent things that, CAL FIRE may say out 50 yards, boom. Beverly Hills may say, okay, out 75 yards because they have the local jurisdiction on the ground. So oftentimes you're going to find that local requirements supersede the county, the state, or the federal requirements because it's their jurisdiction and they're kind of actively on the ground and have a better idea of what is required. We have local disclosures in all of our reports. So whether you use us or use someone else, make sure that whoever you use does include the local disclosures, because if you don't have them, you're missing a huge piece of the puzzle and you're relying on maybe county or state maps when you would need to rely on a local map. And if you don't have that, it just leaves you open to possibly some trouble. So as of this moment, the NHD, the My NHD, and the CAL FIRE Defensible Space Inspection Certificate, and or if a local jurisdiction supersedes, are the only things that are required right now. these are some of the questions I'm asked, sometimes, does someone have to be there for the defensible space inspection? No, no one does, but we strongly suggest that someone is. Either the buyer or the buyer's agent, because then you're gonna have firsthand knowledge of what they're looking at and what they're asking you to do. It's much more comprehensible to have someone there than as opposed to just get a letter or get something in writing saying, here, do these 5 things. And then maybe you don't see or miss one. If you're there or someone representing is there, they can walk the property with the fire inspectors to see firsthand exactly what they're asking and what they're telling you it needs to be done to be compliant. So we would always recommend that someone is there, not that it's required. And then some folks charge, some folks don't charge. Okay, so if it's CAL FIRE's jurisdiction, they don't charge a fee for this. They'll come out, they'll inspect, they'll come out and re-inspect. If it's up to standards, you're going to get this inspection compliance from them. Other entities do charge. I've heard them charging as little as $34 to $250. And there's no matrix, there's no rhyme or reason. Each municipality, each jurisdiction is going to have its own prognosis as whether or not they're going to charge or not. So that's just something that you're going to have to uncover as you order it and find out who has jurisdiction over the property involved. Okay.
Sorry, this local division may charge, what do you mean by that? I mean, if I hire a gardener, let's say, fire department will tell me you have to trim the trees. So that's what they mean, I have to hire a gardener and do the landscaping?
They're not going to dictate how you get it done. They're just going to tell you it needs to be done. And if CAL FIRE comes out, they're going to inspect your property. They're not going to charge anything.
Right.
Then they're going to say, okay, in 30 days, we'll come back and re-inspect to see if these 5 items have been completed. You can get a tree trimming service, you can get a handyman, you can get whatever economical way to get it done. That's at your choice. Or if it's something that's being negotiated between the seller and the buyer, that's something that they can negotiate as far as who's going to be responsible for paying for that. Everything is, for the most part, is negotiable in regards to this. Yeah, so definitely try to have somebody there. Your method of getting it cleared is your method, as long as it's done. And then just be advised that some municipalities will charge a fee just for the inspection, but CAL FIRE does not. Okay.
And sometimes they may come and just pass the inspection.
Well, that's it too. If there's an existing inspection, an existing certificate that still has time on the clock, like you don't have to get re-inspected for another 6, 8 months, whatever it is, 4 months. The seller can give that to the buyer. You can put it into your closing documents. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's good for 3 months past the handover. But these things are not going to get less. They're going to get more over time. A lot of the cities, the state, the county, everybody, our state is very fire rich, if you will, more so than other states. And the way they're taking the bull by the horns is through inspection, mitigation, and then when people don't follow through on that, there's going to be fines involved. And then that'll come from whatever municipality has jurisdiction over the area. The fines are going to vary from state or county, whoever has control. I've heard them being minor in the beginning. Here's a $50 fine, whatever. The next fine, $1,050. The next fine, higher than that. They're really putting some teeth into it now because they feel this is going to be a way to help mitigate the overall fire hazard, if you will. And most people are going to do it just fine, but you'll have some people that maybe don't, or it slips their mind, what have you. But just carefully let your prospective buyers know that this is something that's going to be handled on a yearly basis, and it's going to be a regular thing. And if anything, going forward, not that there is now, there will probably be other regulations. So there'll be other things that you're going to be required to do over time. They just haven't rolled them out yet. Like we're just to play off this a little bit. There's a new bill called Senate Bill 63, and they're mapping the moderate fire zones throughout the state. It was already supposed to have been done and completed It isn't yet, so that's still coming out, and when we have it officially given, I'll be here to inform you of it and let you know what, if anything, that needs to be done with regards to that. But from what we're seeing, this is only gonna become more stringent over time, not less.
So during the escrow, we just need a report.
Please, like
But
that?
during the escrow, we just need a report.
Yes, yeah, and you can order this and bill through escrow,
Okay, then.
and then just pay when the escrow closes.
and
That's the
then-
way the majority of people, when they order their NHD, what
Right.
they do.
And after that is who pays for food, right? They have to do the compliance wise, the new buyer, but like during escrow, just for negotiation.
It's not gonna, that's a good point. This isn't a sale inhibitor. So
Okay,
you're gonna be able to close on time.
got it.
What'll happen is that the clock starts ticking as far as any potential fine
Right.
down the line. That you need to have this inspection done prior to the last date of the last inspection in order to keep you in compliance. And then, once that expires, you open yourself up to potential fines from whatever jurisdiction may have control, you know.
We have a question from the chat. Does the fee go to the buyer for inspections?
Does the fee go to the buyer for the fee for the defensible space inspection? Yes, okay, so, no, it's fine.
I don't know.
So the default is to start with the seller. The seller can do this on their own. Like I mentioned, most sellers are gonna have this already in their hopper. If they lived there for a year or more, they've been through this process. They can hand that over. I would put that in, that's a negotiated thing. If the seller wants to absorb the cost, they can, but they can also defer to the buyer and maybe negotiate it through the cost. But that's a great question. CAL FIRE charges nothing. It really comes down to what municipality has control. Because if it's not CAL FIRE, they're gonna hand it off to a county. If it's not a county agency, they're gonna hand it off to a city. And there's no real set matrix for the fees. Like, I'm just throwing these prices out there. Beverly Hills could charge $100. San Diego County could charge 200 because that's what they choose to do. So there's not like a regulated schedule of fees. It really is dependent on what jurisdiction has control. But CAL FIRE charges nothing. Okay, so if it's under their jurisdiction, there's not gonna be a fee for that. There may only be a fee for whatever work needs to be done. And again, that is a negotiable thing between the buy side and the sell side as well. Okay, so let's just go back real quick here, review. We got the MyHas check, empowering tool for you to use. Okay, not required, but it is fun and it works. It's fantastic. Number two, ordering the My NHD report. Okay, that's required. If it's learned from the report that you're in an AB 38 zone, which is a high fire severity zone. Then the number three, which is required, is ordering your defensible space inspection. Okay, the links on the links here take you to CAL FIRE to request a defensible space inspection. The other link, and they cut this picture off, but normally there's lists of the local jurisdiction fire departments that normally cover the address involved. So that's there as well. So it's very straight and streamlined what you have to do. It's just maybe because you've never done it, it seems like it's, what do I do? Where do I go? But if you just follow it step by step, it's very straightforward. It's just new steps for you to walk through, right? So again, the My NHD and the defensible space inspection are the only things that are required at this time. And the MyHas check is just a fun gift for you guys to use. That's provides a lot of value for you and your customers. So now we're going to get into this new report that you may have heard being discussed. Maybe there's some confusion about it, and we're going to dabble into this a little bit.
We have
I am
one,
not, yes.
sorry, we have one more question.
Oh, okay.
Do we also need an order for residential land only?
It needs to be ordered for residential properties 1 to 4 units. Okay. Okay, so I'm not a employee of Fortress Fire. I work for My NHD, but CAR is very enamored with Fortress Fire, and they have kind of put their wind behind the sail. It can be ordered from the RPA. I believe it's section Q2, right underneath the NHD drop-down menu. And it's not required by law. You don't even have to have a transaction in progress. Anyone who wants to purchase this can order it for any reason at any time. You don't even need to be involved in a transaction. And basically, it just adds multiple layers of information and prospective solutions to provide fire mitigation. We provide this, you can't even order it on their website. You can only order it from third-party vendors, so full disclosure. But CAR asked us to do this. There's other NHD companies that are providing it as well. It's a standalone product. We don't require you to order our report to order the wildfire disclosure report. You can order it all on its own. A lot of our competitors, the way they're approaching it is you must order their NHD report to be able to order the Fortress Fire report from their websites. We take a completely different approach. We want you to be bound by the good sense it makes to order our report, but you don't have to order our report in order to get this report. Completely separate, okay? And again, any questions, anything like that that pops up, we're gonna cover them. Okay, so well north of 30% of all the homes in California are located in either a moderate or an extreme fire zone. There could be many reasons. Sellers may be interested in this report to better understand the wildfire risk to their property, or maybe to prove to a potential buyer that there is not a significant risk to the property. Buyers may want to purchase a Fortress Fire report for their own information about a property that they're interested in purchasing. Again, it's not required. As you see, it's zoned out somewhat similarly to our advisory page on our AB 38 page. But then it just takes a whole huge load of analytics and maps, and it kind of puts it all together. It reports, it combines wildfire data, analytics, artificial intelligence, physics models, CAL FIRE maps, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Forestry, California Public Utility Commission maps. It's just a whole host of analytical data that they compile. And then it comes down, maybe you gotta trim the limbs on the trees, removing dead brush, installing amber resistant vents. Very similar things to what the defensible space inspection is going to do. But then they just kind of add all this other encompassing data to make it seem, well, it's just a tremendous amount of information that some folks may want, some folks may not. We've heard everything. We've heard from it being ordered automatically. We've heard it, buyers ordering it, going to sellers and saying it says you have to do $17,000. I'm just pulling it out of the sky. We've heard all sorts of different angles that people use this report for. So just make sure.
Is there any clearance for this report too? Let's say the buyer send this to the seller that you have to do this, and then how we can prove it that seller has done it?
Well, if you can show that you've done the work, just invite them to the property, show them that they've done the work. But that's kind of one of the little angles that has happened, is that people are ordering this report, and then they're kind of saying, based off the results, you, Mr. Seller, you should provide me this, or you should provide me that. You never know. I think it's a great report. I think it has a lot of useful information. Again, remember, it's not required by law. What is required by law is the defensible space inspection. And realistically, the defensible space inspection, the fire professionals that are out there, they're going to come out and recommend common sense things that need to be done to bring the property into legal compliance according to whatever jurisdiction has control. This is similar, but adds so much other data into it. It's kind of strange because it encompasses so much, but yet it isn't required, right? So a couple of considerations, they develop a vulnerability mitigation summary. 0 being best on the property, 500 being worst. And it takes all of the analytics that we mentioned, probably some I didn't even mention. And it breaks it into like a 5-section: convective heat, radiant heat, ember entry, ember accumulation, structures. And they build a formula, and it gives you how well your structure is going to survive a wildfire. Okay. As always, the considerations with regards to the Fortress Fire Report. Consult your broker, consult your legal guidance for your office. That's always the best place to start. I'm sure Frank and the other leadership are aware of this report, and they're going to have their feelings toward it one way or the other. But don't hesitate to get them involved as another link to protect you as far as, well, should I get this report or not? Another consideration that this report might be helpful for is seemingly insurance has gotten very difficult. Fire insurance in particular has gotten extremely expensive. Some of the carriers have left the state. So maybe by doing this more thorough, not required recommendations from the Fortress Fire Report, you could reach out to your insurance provider and see if it might provide some type of reduction in insurance costs. Right now, we're aware that Mercury Insurance and the California Fair Plan are offering discounts on fire mitigation that you've done to your properties. But it's best to contact those entities themselves, if they are your insurance provider, to see what they are offering based off of what you've done to the property. Okay, look, the worst case scenario, they'll say no, we don't offer a discount, right? But it doesn't hurt to ask, particularly if you are going above and beyond what the defensible space inspection is going to have you do, and you're going to entertain what the Fortress Fire Report is going to tell you to do. It's quite costly, or it could be quite costly difference. So it doesn't hurt to ask, right? And then how do you order the report? As I mentioned, we have it on our website. It's a standalone product. You don't have to order our report to order this report from us. There is a cost, however. It's $140. The Fortress Fire people would love it if you would pay upfront with a credit card and pay the $140. They have recently amended their terms a little bit to where they now allow you to bill through escrow. Okay, if the escrow closes, you're expected to pay for the report. If the escrow doesn't close, it can be canceled, but it's not as friendly as us, I would say. We're out there in the open saying, don't close, don't pay, no problem. Theirs is a little bit more of a process to get it canceled, but now they finally have seen the light, so it's a little bit easier than it initially was. When you do order it from the My NHD site, just click the box, the Fortress Fire box. You're gonna have to have the address, the APN if you have it, and then what they ask for the Fortress Fire Report is for you to give the roof material and the siding material of the actual physical structure itself. I've been told you can get that off of Zillow or Realtor.com, or you might, if you have an open line of communication with the current owner, you could probably ask them and they'll probably tell you as well. But I would be under the impression that the roof material and the siding material are other parts of the analytics that go into their formula to present their risk mitigation number. But like with us, you wouldn't need that. You just either need the address or the APN and the seller's name, and we can generate the report. Okay. Just another picture of how you order it. You're going to click this button here. It's going to obviously take you to pay. Oh, something I want to touch on. Our reports, the NHD reports, 15 minutes or less. They come right away. Their reports, it could take 2 to 3 days from the time that you actually submit to order the report to the time it's delivered, and they deliver them electronically in some type of PDF as well. But I didn't want to go over that or miss that, because I know our reports are lickety split and everybody's used to that. Their reports are a little bit slower. Okay. And can you believe it? That's it. Visit my hashtag, not required, but a lot of fun. Order my NHD report is required. If it's in an AB 38 zone, high fire severity zone, it takes you to the schedule your defensible space inspection, which is required. And if you have the inclination, or if you have a customer that is just extremely wants all the knowledge they can get before they make the decision, there's the Fortress Fire Wildfire Disclosure Report that you can order from my NHD. It is not required, but it is there if you want it. Nothing to bind you there, right? And then just our little putting together the pieces of the puzzle here. For me, it's easy to say these kind of things to you because it's what I do. But for you as a realtor, it may not be so easily understood on the feedback because you haven't done it yet, or it's you're doing one now and you're just kind of nervous, whatever it is. I always like to say, we do the work, you get the protection, okay? It's normally flawless when you order an NHD. There's nothing, a problem. It's streamlined. It goes through whatever your office setup is. But we're here for you. If you have a question, you have a comment, you have a concern, you have something that you've come across that kind of makes you just, you're puzzled, if you will, no pun intended, reach out. There's no bad questions. And our job is to assist you as needed. So if you have something that makes you feel uncomfortable or you're just unsure about, don't hesitate to bring it up and we're happy to help you. Okay. At that time, I'm going to put my little trigger there down. Are there any questions? And if not, no problem. If any develop, reach out, call me, text me, let me know. I would love to be your resource for my NHD and for helping you cover all this wildfire stuff. But thank you for your attention. I hope it was somewhat easy to understand, straightforward. And again, I am here for you guys and gals as you need. Don't hesitate to get me involved. So thank you very much. Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.